Get started. So, all right, my name is Nancy from Nancy Inspired, and I am here for a collective reading. If you are new here, I channel some messaging for the group for the first little bit of the live, and then I take individual names the second part of the live. Don't put your name in yet because it'll get lost in the chat. I have a few people that I didn't get to last week that I'll try and bump to the top of the chat or top of the list this week if they're here. And yeah, let's get started. So we're just going to start with a little clearing. So I'm just going to ask everyone to close their eyes if you can, if it's safe to do so. And just imagine a blue-white light swirling around you. And we're just cleansing, clearing, and balancing our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and our spirits on all levels for our highest and best good. I just imagine that there's a blue-white light and it's just kind of swirling around from above, down my body, counterclockwise, and it's just pulling out at the root everything that doesn't serve me. So cleansing, clearing, and balancing heart, mind, body, and spirit on all levels for our highest and best good. Clearing myself as well as the space, this container that we are in all together, as we're cleansing, clearing, and balancing heart, mind, body, and spirit on all levels for our highest and best good. Seems like there's a little bit of extra to clear today. Usually it doesn't take quite this long, but we will be patient. Maybe it's me bringing some agitation. It's really windy here today, and I get a little agitated when it's windy, so... Oh, there we go. I just felt it clear. I don't know if you guys felt that too, but it just kind of whoosh, kind of relaxed everything. So cleanse, clear, and balance heart, mind, body, and spirit on all levels for our highest and best good, as well as removing everything from this container and space for our highest and best good. All right. And now the light just turns and swirls clockwise, turns into kind of a golden light. And it just elevates. It allows me to hear clearly, allows me to connect to source, allows me to help elevate vibration. And we're just going to add an extra little bubble of protection, a little layer, so that anything that doesn't belong in this space, that isn't for everyone's highest and best good, just gets repelled and sent to the feet of God, where it gets transmuted into love. Perfect. Now I just need to connect to all of you. Can I, man, shall I do a reading for my Insight Timer friends and family, both those that are here and those that come and listen later? Yes. Is there any reason why I shouldn't? No. Then I ask that everyone's intuition be raised to the highest level that they can accommodate with at this moment in time. Allow their souls to speak freely and clearly for everyone's highest and best good. All right. I think we're ready to go. Hello, Aderne and Jovita and Jamie. Wonderful. Hello, everybody. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Well, let's begin. So first, I'm just going to take a sip. We got ginger peach tea today. I also was researching recipes for teas and their kind of medicinal and magical properties, and made me excited. Makes me want to run a tea shop. Hello, Debbie from Wisconsin. Welcome. I absolutely love I'm realizing I didn't brush my hair this morning. I absolutely love the international nature of Insight Timer. All right. Let me tap in. What do I hear as the collective wisdom for today? All right. So what I got, well, a few different things. First, I became aware of my legs, my body. And I thought, okay, why am I wearing my legs? And then all of a sudden I saw like a little video play in my mind of a basketball player. And as they're, I don't watch a lot of basketball, but I know there's lots of pivoting, and that's what I was getting, is pivoting this week. So I don't do divination for those of you that are new here, but this is the wisdom that guides us for the week. And what I'm hearing is sometimes we need to pivot. Sometimes we need to switch directions. Now, what I'm hearing is that when a basketball player pivots, now I don't play basketball, so you can correct me if this is inaccurate information. But what I'm hearing is that when a basketball player pivots, they have to plant their foot and they steady themselves. They ground themselves on one foot while they pivot around to figure out which direction they're going to go. I actually don't know that for certain. That's what I'm hearing. But what I'm hearing is it's that grounding foot, that the foot that gets planted in order to pivot. That's what we're focusing on right now. That sometimes things happen, and this week, is probably going to be no exception, that things happen where we're asked to pivot. We're asked to change direction. We're asked to go a different way than what we were originally planning. So we're planning this way, we're setting our goals, we're going this way, and all of a sudden we're asked to pivot. What I'm hearing is it's not the pivoting that we need to pay attention to, except the awareness of that. Okay, the words I'm hearing are truly showing up to the game, truly showing up to life. We need to be aware of when we need to pivot, when we need to switch directions, when we need to go a different way. But the important part that I'm hearing right now is to ground yourself in your sort of grounding energy. When we're pivoting, it doesn't mean that we're abandoning everything. It doesn't mean that we're letting ourselves down. It doesn't mean that we're completely switching directions. What it means is we're grounding into ourselves, grounding into that energy of where we want to go, who we are, what we're doing, how we show up in every situation, grounding ourselves in that energy. And from that place, it allows us to take a step in different directions. It allows us to, okay, we need to go this way, but we're starting from that pivot place. I'm gonna have to look up basketball now. That's what I'm getting, is that grounding foot that you start from, and that's where the pivoting and changing direction comes from, and recognizing where we need to go. So I'm hearing to not take the need to pivot and change direction and do something different as a negative or as derailment, but actually take it as adjustment and flow. And that if you ground yourself and have that sort of pivot point, that grounding point, it allows us to pivot seamlessly, or more seamlessly anyway. But to not take it as a derailment, but take it as a pivot point. I like that advice, because at any given time we have a situation where we're being asked to, pivot and change directions, and we're planning one thing and then now we're having to do something different. And yeah, not taking it as derailment, but taking it as just switching directions. All right, that was a nice, easy start to our messaging. Let's see what's next. All right, the next part that I'm hearing is about comparison. And I know that we've talked about comparison before, but what I am hearing is to fully accept and show up. What I'm hearing, the words are fully accept and show up in your own reality. So, what does that mean exactly? The exact words I'm hearing is consciously or unconsciously, we create our own realities. So there are things that happen in our lives that obviously we wouldn't choose, but what we're choosing to focus on, we essentially create our own realities. I always struggle with this a little bit when I hear people say, you create your own reality and it's all an illusion and the life you're living is what you've created. Because there's lots of things that I definitely would not have chosen to create. So I always struggle with that, but I am hearing that right now. All right. And what I am hearing, okay. what I am hearing is how we show up in the present moment, here and now, without comparison, is what allows us to be fully present to creating the reality of our lives. Okay, let's unpack that. What does that mean? Okay. All right. So there's certain things that we create in our lives that subconsciously are exactly the things that we need or want or are for our own highest and best good. When we look around, we're like, oh, but I don't have that like this person, or I don't have that like this person, or if I just had more of this, or if I just had less of this, my life would be X, Y, and Z. What I'm hearing is be aware of the things that we are showing up to. Okay, you're going to tell you a story because I'm struggling. I'm like, give me an example. I'm reading a book right now, just a little cute book. It's called Spell Shop or something like that. And anyway, the main character, the book itself doesn't really matter, but the main character is a librarian and she does not love people and she likes being by herself and she likes, spending time by herself. And it's interesting because in the book, it makes that, severe introverted person, that is her reality. That is her happiness. So if you were to take a severely introverted person and say, oh, you're supposed to be sociable and have all these friends and da 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 da, because they're comparing themselves to, what it looks like we're supposed to have or do, that's not how they're happy, right? Or you might have the opposite and you have somebody who genuinely their bucket is filled by being around other people and giving them like a solitary vacation all by themselves, which sounds like a dream to me, but might be horrible for somebody else, right? So what I'm hearing is understand your true nature and understand what truly fills your bucket, or what is truly your heart's desire, what you desire, and don't compare yourself to other people and what other people like. As another example, I love the idea of travel. I have a very good friend that the idea of travel is stressful, and she's like, I am happy just traveling via the internet and seeing the sites and doing things. And to be really honest, she's probably researched and seen more sites than I have in person, but she has no desire to get on a plane and travel. Neither one is better or worse. And what I'm hearing is that it's that comparison that causes us problems. It's that comparison and deciding, oh, we're supposed to be this way or we're supposed to be that way, that actually causes us the grief, that causes us the problems. Sorry, I just have something on my foot and it's bothering me. There we go. Why is this relevant right now is what I'm asking. Okay. So this is what I heard is it's coming into springtime, and springtime is the true New Year's. Springtime is the true kind of evolution and change and rebirth and reawakening. And this is when we start to kind of come alive and want to do stuff and whatever that stuff might be. And what I'm hearing is that as we're coming online and we're kind of, awakening to wanting to, evolve as it's like rebirth and spring and whatnot is what I'm hearing. And that I'm hearing there's a lot of spring energy coming. I know we're not quite at the equinox yet, but I'm feeling that there's lots of rebirth and whatnot. What I'm hearing is ground yourself in your own highest and best good, your own, what is your growth? What is your evolution? What is your happy place, if for lack of a better word? So that as you are setting goals and as you are kind of opening up the next chapter and moving into the next chapter, it's genuinely where you want to go. It's so if it's I want to create a beautiful garden that I can hang out by myself and read books. Perfect. I want to plan a trip with all my friends, like whatever. Perfect. It doesn't matter what it is, but rather than setting yourself up for comparisons and therefore disappointments, um, make your plans, ground your plans, spend some time grounding your plans in your truest form. What do you truly want? It's interesting because I know that I've evolved quite a bit and changed quite a bit. And by evolved, I don't mean hierarchy. I mean that at one point in my life, the more people, the better. Like I would be in the middle of a crowd and perfectly happy. Now, even going to the grocery store feels crowded to me. I think the more I'm kind of living in my gift, the less I am comfortable around a lot of people. And so it's a change. At one point, I would have criticized a solitary lifestyle and a quiet lifestyle and a early to bed, early to rise lifestyle. I would have thought, "Ugh, who wants that?" And now I look back on who I was back then and I think, who wants that? So what I'm hearing is, instead of judging the who wants that part, spend some time with yourself over the next little while, just before the spring equinox, just before we get into spring. Spend some time with yourself and sort of decide or gravitate towards, not so much decide because nothing has to be set in stone, gravitate towards the things that truly replenish your soul, and don't get caught up in comparison about what other people are doing. Sure, you can talk to other people for ideas, but just because one person is off jet setting, maybe that's not what you want. Maybe because one person is gardening, I mean, some people hate working in the dirt. So don't compare. Find your own peace. I think that's pretty good advice. Let me hear what else I can hear. We're going soft today. Sometimes the messaging is like a hammer over the head, and this one is more gentle. I'm okay with gentle. Oh, lots of spring references today. So the next one that I'm getting, what I got was I got this image of like rain, right? Like gray clouds, rain falling. And, I personally love the rain. As a redheaded kid, when it was raining outside, that meant I could be outside all day and not worry about getting sunstroke or sunburnt or heat rashes or whatever else my skin would do for me. So I actually have always loved the rain, but I know that the rain can be melancholy for some people, and often it is a symbol of crying or that melancholy. What I'm hearing, though, is that the rain is nourishing. And so if we're going to, so this is tricky for me because I don't associate rain with melancholy, but that's the imagery and whatnot I'm getting. And since I'm tapping into all of you, well, that's what we're getting. So what I'm getting is that sometimes those moments of quiet and melancholy and emotional release are really important for growth and rebirth. So in the spring, those rains, those rains, they cleanse. I don't know what your area is like where you live, but because we have snow all winter and the gravel trucks that make it so it's not slippery, it is mucky, dirty, dusty, gravelly everywhere for the first little bit of spring. And when we get that first big rainfall and everything kind of gets washed away, it's absolutely beautiful. And that's the imagery I'm getting right now, that sometimes our need to just release and let go and allow ourselves, through tears or through laughter or through whatever, however we need to express, that sometimes those things are cleansing. And so as we're approaching spring, find those things that allow you to truly release some of the things that we're holding. And I just heard sometimes it can be a matter of like just a snap of the fingers. I release this. I don't need this anymore. I release it. So I was just given an image. I have a friend who tends to hold on to things, and I tend to be the kind of person that I don't need this. I'll get rid of it, donate it, give it away, whatever. And my friend just like, but what if I need that? What if I need that? And I'm hearing that for some people, it's a whole process. We need to create a ritual in order to let go of things. And there are some things that I need rituals to let go of, but we need a whole ritual. We need a whole process. We need a whole kind of preparation in order to let go of things. And sometimes it's as easy as, I don't need this, I'll throw it in the donation bag. What I'm hearing is this is the time, and maybe those of you that are knowledgeable about what's happening in the celestial world, the astrological world, what I'm hearing is this is a time to take a look at all the stuff you're carrying and what can you get rid of? What can you say, I don't need to carry this anymore? And what I'm hearing is sometimes it doesn't need to be a big production. Sometimes it's simply, I don't need to carry this anymore. Done, gone, throw it in the donation bin. And sometimes it requires a little more care and a little more love and a little more compassion in order to release things. But I'm hearing this is the time to do a little bit of emotional house cleaning as we are deciding what we want to plant. Lots of spring references today. I guess that makes sense as we're coming into spring. As we're deciding what to plant, so I'm getting this whole image of when you need to cultivate the soil, so you got to kind of clean up the soil, pull out what doesn't serve, what isn't part of what we need, but that stuff goes into compost or whatever, to become new growth. All of our experiences, our memories, our everything that makes us us is like the compost that we grow new things out of. But we have to choose what we're going to focus on. We got to choose what we're going to plant. And so what I'm hearing is this is the time to do some of that emotional cleanup. What do I want to bring forward into this new spring? What do I want to plant in that emotional garden? What do I want to plant in that self, that sense of self? Who do I want to be right now? What can I cultivate out and what can I plant? Because this is the time to be planning your garden. It's not the time to plant the garden yet, but it's the time to be planning. And so take some time to decide, who am I? And then I just heard, and remember about that comparison piece. We don't need to be anybody else. We need to be ourselves. And so don't get caught up in comparing and be like, oh, my garden has to look like the neighbor's garden. I'm talking emotionally and metaphorically, of course. What do I need? What do I want to cultivate? What do I want to plant? What do I want to become? What do I want to grow? And this is our time to take a look at the emotional stuff that we're carrying, the metaphysical stuff that we're carrying, the energy that we're carrying. I'm hearing even the physical things that we're carrying, that we can try and release and say, I don't want to carry this, or these are the things I want to plant this year. This is our time to plan and plant. And what I'm hearing is that we're guided. We don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to be this is where it's interesting, because I'm getting this gentle, loving sort of energy right now of, I know when I hear stories of you are the creators of your own reality. Sometimes I feel a lot of pressure on that. And I'm like, well, I didn't create this part. I mean, maybe inadvertently I have, right? But what I'm hearing is we don't need to have all the answers, that we are connected to our soul families. We are connected to divine consciousness. We are connected to our guides. We're connected to our highest and best good. We are open and receptive to those things. So we will be guided. And okay, so I just heard, just like a garden, you plant a bunch of stuff. Some of it comes up, some of it doesn't. And along with some of it that comes up, There's also weeds that come up. And so, as these experiences, emotions, things we don't want to carry, things we don't want to bring with us, those are like the weeds. And so, we can decide we can either let them grow and it'll choke out the rest of the garden, or we can pluck them out when we notice them. And that's also what I'm hearing. Sometimes you don't notice the weeds until you're like, whoa, there's a lot of weeds here. And you got to dig through the weeds in order to get back to nurturing your garden. And it's a process. When people plant a garden, it's not like they just like plant the seeds and then just, sit back and go. I mean, some people can do that, I guess. But there is a certain degree of tending the garden that has to happen. And so those things that show up, those weeds that show up, those are the weeds that we get to pluck out as needed, so that we can tend to the real things that we want to attend to, that we want to create for ourselves. I'm just going to check the chat. Gazing at the most beautiful Milky Way. Oh, sprinkles of stardust. Oh, Shabbat, that sounds beautiful. The eclipse just happened, and it's about releasing the aspect of self that doesn't serve you, where Virgo sits in your natal birth chart. Well, there you go. That's what we're talking about. Choosing what it is. This is your time to plant. This is not your time to. Just as I was saying it, I was hearing, no, not your time. This is your time to plan. What is it you want to carry forward? What is it you want to release? It's about planning. What do you want? What seeds do you want to plant? What seeds do you want to bring forward into this next time? And be aware that we're guided. I just saw the image of one of the ways that seeds are spread is through birds. And so birds will eat, and bats, I just heard bats and birds will eat certain plants, and then they'll poop. And when they poop, some of that seed ends up being in places you weren't even expecting. So that's what I was just hearing, is be aware of unexpected gifts. We don't usually think of like bird poop and bat poop or whatever as being a gift. But that's what I'm hearing, is that sometimes those things that seem negative or yucky are actually full of potential and full of gifts. And so sometimes as we're planting those seeds, be aware that sometimes those things that maybe don't seem pleasant at first might be another seed, another possible aspect of growth. I absolutely love this. Makes me want to go play in a garden. I still have snow outside, so I'm nowhere near gardening. But that's what I'm hearing, is it's not gardening time. This is planning time. But yeah, getting all these garden references makes me. And I don't even really have a yard. I have a tiny little. I live in a townhouse with a tiny little. I guess it's kind of a yard. And so I'm not even sure how to create a garden in there, but metaphorically, I can create a garden in my well-being garden. That's what I'm calling it, my well-being garden, because that's what I'm hearing right now. All right, is there another message here? Okay, so I got a little garden reference. What I got was a pair of muddy rubber boots. This image of muddy rubber boots and wiping them off or taking them off or rinsing them off before you come inside. So this is what I'm hearing, is this next coming week is as stuff is messy, as things happen, people's emotions, your own emotions, life situations, whatever they are, get messy. Remember to take off your boots or clean them off or wipe off the mud before you move forward, before you come home, before you enter your space. And I'm talking metaphorically as well. Okay, so physically, of course, I've got to do that. But what I'm hearing is don't bring things in. So if you're encountering things that are stressful or negative or lower vibrational, don't bring it in. Clear it off, wipe it off, wash it off, clear it off so it doesn't take residence. It doesn't take up residence in your being. Things that make you angry, things that make you frustrated, things that make you sad, things that make you anxious. wipe it off, clear it off. Don't let it take up residence. Don't give it real estate in your brain. If it's not serving you and it's not something that you're learning from, don't allow it to take up that real estate in your brain. So the metaphor of wipe off your boots before you come in the house, or like take off your boots before you come in the house. When you are encountering these emotionally charged, lower vibrational things, clean them off. Don't let them take up residence. Don't let them take up that real estate. Don't let them consume you, right? Let them just like the mud. You can wash it off, right? You don't need to carry it and traipse it around the house with you. You don't need to carry all that stuff that doesn't serve you. All right. I guess we're starting early today. So I'm hearing that to just move on to the individual questions.